Hello and welcome to this weekend's weather outlook video, and I'll talk a little bit about the long range. Not too much, but I know we couldn't cover it because of the blizzard, and thank God that snow is behind us, but we're still left with the consequences of it with lots of snow on the ground. However, it has definitely been melting with the temperatures getting into the 40s every day. So we do have improving weather. We've had kind of a gloomy day today. And yesterday we had a little snowfall as well, nothing crazy. There's just a preliminary. They have a video of the weather service. It's a video of the storm and the snow totals, as you see from the storm. Again, they've put a whole web page up about it, which you can see. The Upton Weather Service did. First, let's go ahead and look at our iSlip climatological data for today. We got up to 42 with a low at 24, still a couple degrees below normal. And if we look at yesterday's climate report, we got up to 39, but the low was 11. So yesterday morning was very cold. We did have some radiational cooling before the clouds rolled in. It took place at 12:41 a.m. That low, so 10 degrees below normal for the day, and 2.1 inches of snow, which melted pretty quick, but still, for the season, we have, for this month, 34.2 inches of snow for the month of February, and since December 1st, 61.6 inches at iSlip, which is incredible amount of snow. We've just gotten clobbered with snow this winter. It's been unbelievable. It really has. Really clobbered. Looking at the weather going on, do some thunderstorm activity in the south, some red flag warnings in the lee of the Rocky Mountains there, but it's fairly quiet pretty much everywhere. And you'll see tonight, temperature's not quite as cold as last night, obviously, with the cloud cover. Should I say the night before? But you'll see here that 30 degrees at West Hampton, and they got down to 19 this morning. And I'm just kind of curious how low West Hampton got. I think it was probably 5 degrees yesterday morning, but let's see what it got down to. We have to go back to yesterday here, February 25th. So let's see what they got down to. Actually, they got down to, let's see where it is. It should be over here. 3 degrees. Yeah, 3 degrees at West Hampton. So some pretty good radiational cooling that night. Very impressive. However, once the clouds moved in, the temperature shot up. But the snowpack and the dry air. Right now, 32. Yeah, temperatures are generally around 32. But in the alley, it's 45. Yep. So, 45. Yeah, well, I hate this place. I'm going to just do the voice. But, it's no fresh air in this place. Let's look at the high temperatures today, and you'll see, mainly mid-40s across Long Island. However, in Jersey, upper 40s into even low 50s, and that's good because that'll melt the snow. I think the snowpack will melt there before it melts here. And hopefully it's starting to definitely melt significantly. And there's the lows from this morning. Not quite as cold as it was the previous morning, but still 19 at West Hampton. Lows in the upper 20s to around the freezing mark. We do have colder air working in. Looking at the weather map, you'll see there's a low passing by that's brush Jersey with some showers, but we're going to be dry tomorrow and Saturday for the most part. So I'm going to actually talk about the weekend weather, and then we'll go into the longer range outlook that we've got. So first, we're going to go to the drought monitor, first of all, and we'll take a look and see what's changed. And you'll see that we are now in the yellow, and some parts of Ocean County, like the extreme coastal area, you'll see nothing there. But if you go just to the west and north of New York City, you still see moderate and even severe, and even one area, a little spot over Sussex County, New Jersey, of extreme drought, because those areas have missed out on the heavier snowfalls that the coast has gotten. So let's look at the models first for the weekend, and then we'll go and we'll take a look at the longer range. So you're starting off with the GFS. See that system passing out of the south. High pressure builds in tomorrow. Fair, a little bit chillier tomorrow, I think. But then we have a southwest flow that'll warm us up on Saturday. And then as we get into Sunday, you'll see that we have a cold front approaching. That will bring a chance for a snow or rain shower, particularly early Sunday. And same thing on the European, obviously. Here's the European. Pretty much, you see the same deal pretty much here with that front passing through Sunday, probably earlier on Sunday before that high builds in. And we'll talk more about that after I talk about the weekend. So let's go to the HRRR model, and we'll take a look at tomorrow and the dew points and wind flow, because we will see that, fortunately, the winds have become northeasterly, so thank God I can open my windows again, because the furnace exhaust was terrible last night. They become easterly throughout the day. So with that onshore flow, the water temperatures are still pretty cold in the 30s. It's going to keep us chilly tomorrow, I think. Chillier than it was today, I think, especially along the coast. And then those winds become a little more southerly tomorrow night to Saturday. And then Saturday we get into more of that west-southwest flow, which means hello furnace exhaust again. But that will also mean warmer air coming in as well. But then you'll notice this cold front coming in for Sunday. All right. So we'll first look at the temperatures, I guess, next. So let's do the temperatures. Tonight probably won't be all that cold, maybe 20s. Probably will be by the morning. It probably will be in like the low to mid 20s. And then for tomorrow, it's going to be chilly in the morning. And then it's going to be a little colder today than it was tomorrow than it was today, with temperatures only in the upper 30s to around 40 again along the coast. So it definitely will be chillier tomorrow night. Not showing it getting as cold as we're dealing with more of a southerly flow. And then for Saturday, that's when things are going to warm up, and probably 50 or better if you're in Jersey, and probably upper 40s for us. So Saturday will be quite warm. Now the skies for tomorrow, which we'll go over. For tomorrow, we'll look at the sounding here at midday, and you'll see, the lines are pretty far apart, which would indicate mostly sunny skies, at least in that area. So, it looks like mostly sunny skies for the middle of the day, showing the lines a little closer together in Jersey. There could be, again, some cloudiness, I guess. We'll have to see. Some models are indicating that, especially maybe in the morning, maybe those little, still pretty far apart. So I think we should have a decent amount of sunshine tomorrow. And you better enjoy it, because after tomorrow and Saturday, we're going to get into stall front syndrome. We'll talk about that as well. Okay, so now we want to go a little bit further, cover the rest of the weekend. We will look at the GFS, because GFS did good with that storm. So we're going to head and look at that. Now dew points and wind flow on the GFS. So here we go on the GFS. And you see there's that front coming for Sunday. And there's a much colder air. Now, the core of that colder air, you can see what happens. So Monday is going to be pretty cold. I know I'm talking about Monday now, but you'll see that's a cold front that's going to bring in much, much colder air. A little bit of, I would say, Arctic air. So, so as we get into Sunday, you'll see you'll start off above freezing, but then as you go to the evening, that's when the temperatures start to drop. It still seems like it has a lag on the GFS. Is the Euro a little bit quicker? Euro is a little colder for Sunday, so there's a little bit of a discrepancy there, I guess, for Sunday. But Sunday will be colder than Saturday. That's the main takeaway from it. We'll look at the R gem now for clouds, and you'll see again mostly sunny conditions for tomorrow. I think after some clouds in the morning, the clouds kind of stay off to the south. Saturday we might have a little bit of fog in the morning, showing some of that. And then as the warmer air comes in, and then for much of the day, it should be mostly sunny. Maybe a few clouds here and there, according to this model. That's as far out as this goes. We have the 0Z run, which does not go. It's only going out to 54 hours at this point. I'd have to roll this back a little bit to show you Sunday. Sunday, there's that front coming through. So you can see the front coming through right in the late morning hours. And behind it, though, it will clear out. All right. It will clear out behind it. We can look at the GFS. Kind of shows, again, that front coming through there as well. I don't think any of our models are going to go out far enough to show the actual front, but there could be a snow shower with it, perhaps. There's a small chance that there could be a little bit of precipitation with it. I really don't think there would be all that much. We'll go back to the GFS here and see if it shows anything for that front on Sunday. It does show something, so it does show something. That would be interesting if we got a snow squall with that front there. I don't think we will. But if anything changes, we'll have to see. It's kind of too far out at this point. Um, so I guess we've gone over most of the weekend here. As far as the weather goes, it should be nice for the most part. Until you get to Sunday, it's when things are going to change and it's going to get colder again. So now we'll go ahead and we'll look at the longer range and into next week. Go to the North American view, and we're going to change this to the upper air. So you'll see that trough coming in. So here's what happens tomorrow. Again, you see that little trough coming through that kind of just nudges just a little bit. But then the ridging, we get some ridging. All right, you can see the crazy ridging in the west. By the way, they've had a lot of, that's another thing I want to speak about. The west, there's been a lot of heat, believe it or not. Heat, yes, heat in the south. Like Texas, places, look at how hot it's been in South Texas. Hundreds south of San Antonio. Remember, we are only in February. It's also been hot in Arizona, too, as well. So very unusual. There's been just a lot of ridging in that area, and it's been very hot. And that's why we got those red flag warnings out west as well. I kind of wanted to show that. So anyway, let's go and look at what's going to happen as we get into Sunday. So this is the 18Z GFS that we're looking at here. So you can see there's that trough. You can look at the 12Z if you want, because we are going to look at just keep it to the 18Z. So you see that trough that comes in. But you notice the axis of the trough is kind of staying up north. So that means the cold air won't be with us for long. And then after that, you're kind of in a stalled front situation. After that setting up, you see that upper air pattern. You start with the stalled front and then ridging as you head into the later part of next week. All right, ridging. And then you can see some really strong ridging there, which indicates a warm-up until we see another cool down behind that warm-up. There will be a cool down behind that, but it will get very warm. That snow should, all of it, hopefully be gone by then. So that's what the GFS is showing. Look at the European. And European, obviously, not going to go as far out here on the 18Z run of the European. But you see, again, that huge ridge right there that develops. That's a huge ridge that we're going to get into later next week. That's going to really bring in some very warm weather. Very warm. And you see that ridge continue into next weekend. But you see what happens after that. It will break down. All right. And the reason why it breaks down is if we go to the northern hemispheric view. Now the Euro doesn't. I don't think the Euro gives us that. It does not. The GFS. Show you what happens on the GFS. We're going to look at the polar vortex here. So here's what happens. All right. So you can see it's all the way on the other side of the globe right now. But take a look. There's a split. And it splits up and it starts breaking down. And that's going to allow some more of that Arctic air to come down as we get toward the middle and latter parts of March. All right. So we'll now go and look at the temperature anomaly chart here on the GFS. All right. So you can see that. You can see. I'm going to use this wider view right now because you can see that colder air, that first batch of colder air that kind of goes by to our north, and then we see that warm up. All right. And then there's another batch of colder air that comes down, kind of gives us a glancing blow after that warm-up. But then it really gets warm for next weekend. Really, look at how far it extends to. It's going to be a huge ridge. But you can see there's another batch of cold air once we're done with that. So we're still not done yet with the cold, but it won't be really crazy stuff, I think, is over. So closer look. Again, you see that... that cool down that we're going to get again next week. You see that cool down, and then we get some really, really crazy warmth in here. And I mean really crazy. So it was bright hot pinks. We'll take a look at how warm it's going to get. But that's very, very warm. All right, we can look at the 12Z. I don't think we have much of any difference on these. Not really. You can see that really crazy warmth. Looking at the European, it's the same thing. So we're going to see some well above normal temperatures work into our area. Once we have to deal with a little bit of cold weather to start the week, you'll see that really, really, look at that, really warm, very warm conditions. The euro is even going nuts here. We're going to look at some of these euro numbers, which are going to blow your mind. Yeah, this is pretty crazy warmth that we're going to see. So let's go ahead and look at the surface. We still got to get through a little. We still got to get through some stuff though. So again, fair weather tomorrow. Looking at next week, this is what happens. We have a high build down. This is the 12Z euro. You see that high build down. That's going to bring in the cold Arctic air. And then we have this weak system that's going to pass by to our south on Monday. Doesn't look like much of anything. And the euro there's basically a warm frontal type system that moves through that might start as snow in a mix and then go over to rain. The euro brings another high in, and then we have the ridge develop again. So we won't have to worry about any more snow after that for quite a while. And most of that snow that we got will be a distant memory by then. So the GFS. Here's the GFS. It's a GFS is even more suppressed with that system. Kind of just has it going by to the south on Monday. It builds the high over us on Tuesday, so giving us fair weather on Tuesday. Euro is saying no to that. And then here comes the rain for Wednesday. Some rain, and then you could see that we are dealing with the stall front. We're on the warm side of it. And you can see all the warmth that we're going to have, that big ridge that's going to bring it in. Maybe there'll be some LLJs in there too, perhaps. So that's what we're looking at right now. So taking a closer look at things, let's go and look at the temperatures. And I'm just going to go show you what the temperatures, how warm it could get once we get done with the cold. All right. First, the GFS. As we head into next week, you'll see that colder air coming in. And for Monday, it's going to be rather chilly where it's going to stay below freezing all day. Maybe highs getting close to 30, and that's it. All right. But then you start to see it start to pull out on Tuesday. Temperatures getting back into the 30s again. And then you can see that stall frontal boundary that we're going to be dealing with. All right. And then that heat is going to start building in. So here we go later in the week. You can see Jersey starting to warm up. Of course, we may have a sea breeze, which may keep us cooler. Now, the GFS is in a little batch of cold air that tries to work in on Friday. This could be another stalled front type of situation here. That's the 18Z GFS. This is the 12Z. But it's like one of those backdoor front type of situations. And Friday could be wind up kind of gloomy and sucky if that winds up happening. Because usually that brings sucky drizzle if you get that type of thing. If that happens. And it's still, so this is Friday, and then you can see that backdoor front still kind of sitting over us on Saturday. So the GFS wants to say there's going to be a backdoor next weekend, which would not allow the warmth to come in, unfortunately. And this is next weekend, not this upcoming weekend. All right, so keep the backdoor in, and you see here that the heat, and I'm talking 70s, stays off to the west. And then Sunday, finally, we see the warm air getting there, and we could see 70 or better in Jersey. This is next Sunday, all right? So there will be a big warm-up, and then after that, look at that, even warmer. Once that backdoor front passes, 70s, maybe even 80 in Jersey, which is crazy warm. Some of these numbers that the GFS are just showing are just crazy. The Euro is also showing this warm-up as well. So looking at the European, again, we'll look at the 12Z European because it goes out further. Once we're done with the cold, then we get into some of the warmth. Now, the Euro is not showing such a significant backdoor cold front for next weekend, which means the warmth would come in a lot quicker. And you can see here, it's still showing Long Island being a lot cooler. We can look at the dew points and wind flow, and you see here, there's a southwest wind, but it also comes with humidity too, the warmth. Yeah, so, yeah, crazy. So this is not normal, but this is what happens when you have a disturbed jet stream. So very warm. And then as we get into Sunday, similar type of deal where Long Island would have a sea breeze and keep it cooler while Jersey would be in the 70s. And then look at that. Look at Monday, the 70s start to make a way. And yeah, you can't even say that there wouldn't even be 80 degrees in some areas. Look at this. March 11th, it has 80 degrees in Toms River. That is crazy. For that you're talking crazy March heat. If this were to verify, but it's showing a crazy ridge building. But after the ridge, it's going to get colder again. All right. But in the meantime, we'll have some warmth and hopefully melt every last bit of snow and hopefully not get any more. So That's the point I'm trying to make here. So, lastly, last stop, Climate Prediction Center. Briefly go over this. The 6 to 10 day, you can see we are firmly in the above normal. Look at that. The whole country is going to be above normal. This is a coast-to-coast blowtorch. And you can see above normal, and mainly in the Mississippi River Valley area for precipitation. And then warm and wet continuing into the 8 to 14 day, and very much above normal. That goes all the way out to March 12th. So, yeah, it's going to get quite warm as we deal with some possible record warmth. So get ready. This is what it looks like we're going to have. So spring may get an early start after all. But after that, it might get cold again. All right, so maybe this is what happens when you have crazy jet stream disruptions because of climate change. As you know, ooh, can't say that. We know a certain group of people doesn't like that. But anyway, I'm going to talk more about this in detail on Sunday night, and that's going to be it. Probably the next weather video will be Sunday night. So enjoy the next couple of days though, because we are going to be dealing with stall front syndrome next week, and it's going to be rather unsettled again. And as far as the amount of rain, well, we'll talk about that Sunday night. So have a good night.